Welcome the students of class 8. Welcome to our social science e-learning class. And students, today in this class, so we are continuing the rest of the portion of your chapter 6 of your history book in new NCERT book, and those have old NCERT book, they can open page in the second book, book 2 actually, in and chapter number 7. And the name of the subunit, it is the Sword of Tipu Sultan and Wood Steel. So in previous subunit we have seen about how did the Indian weavers, they suffered because of industrial revolution, and in England, and the Britain made products totally overflooded the Indian markets and outplayed the Indian weave producers. So now today in this topic we are going to discuss about the woods industry, woods and the steel making industry that was developed at the time in medieval India and at the first half of 18th century, and also declined due to the industrial revolution. So the sword of Sultan, Tipu Sultan, had an incredible hard and sharp edge with a flowing water pattern. So if you see in the picture present in your book, that the sword with a sharp edge, okay, and in the edge with beautifully carved, and the flowing water pattern was there, okay, and that could easily rip through the opponent's armor, okay, it could easily rip through the opponent's armor at the time. So this sword is actually preserved in England in the Royal Museum, and the steel that was used to make that particular type of sword is called woods, okay, and the quality come from this wood steel was because of the use of carbon. They use carbon with the steel, so that's why it was so strong. And wood steel was produced all over South India at that time, and the flowing water pattern on the sword came from very small carbon crystals embedded in the iron. So Francis Buchanan, also a doctor and missionary, traveled various parts of the India at the time in colonial period, and he left an account of the technique by which wood steel was produced in South India by Indian smelters and in many hundreds of smelting furnaces in Mysore. So you have to know who are the smelters in this case, okay. So smelters are the people who engaged in making wood steel at that time, and these have high demand in the Indian in the Indian markets as well as to the Indian kings. And these furnaces, and in these furnaces, iron and charcoal, first they melt the iron and mixed it with a charcoal. Charcoal is produced from wood ash, you know that, after burning the wood. And when the charcoal and iron, they mixed together and put inside a small clay pot through an intricate control of temperature, and this type of steel were produced with flowing water pattern. And these steel ingots they collect, and that were used for sword making. So this technique not only used in India but in various other countries such as in West and Central Asia. And woods is an anglicized version of the Kannada word ukku, Telugu word urukku, and Telugu word hukku, and Malayalam word urukku, okay. So the English, they could not pronounce the word properly, so that's why it was named Wootz. So this is the story of Wootz. How did they produce woods? Using charcoal with iron, melting irons. And legendary European scientist, so it is very surprising that legendary European scientist and discoverer Michael Faraday, okay, so Michael Faraday is famous for the discovery of various discovery related to electricity. And Michael Faraday also spent 4 years in India studying the properties of Indian woods. Okay, so he was spent almost 4 years studying the properties of Indian woods from 1880 to 1822. But sadly, the woods making process completely lost by the mid 19th century. And what were the reason of the decline of these woods and Indian smelting industry? Because the sword and armor making industry displaced by the iron and steel imported from Britain at the time, and the East India Company army and the other foreign armies such as the French and Portuguese, they also started using the England, the Britain made steel and the Europe made steel for making their armors and swords. Okay students, so that's all from this subunit. I hope you have understood how did the woods, what is woods and how did the woods making industry decline in India. So next class we're going to discuss more about the decline of metallurgy industry in India. Okay, so thank you for watching. See you in the next class.